All right. Hello and welcome to the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers audio series / podcast, depending on where you might be finding this information and this content at the moment. My name is Pat Petrini. I'm the co-author of the #1 best-selling book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. And in creating this book, we reached out to some of the very top network marketers in the world, and we interviewed them, some of the top performers, both people that have been around the network marketing world for years and even decades, as well as people that are fairly newcomers that have just been around for the last few years, but have had extreme success in those just those last few years. And we reached out, we interviewed them. That's what this series is all about. You're going to hear interviews from a number of different people. And in these interviews, we dive into not only their tips, strategies, techniques, things that have really accelerated their business, but also, and of course this was sort of the thesis, the theme of the book is the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. We delve into their morning routines and their daily rituals, things that they consider to be critical for success that are really important for them to do every single day. And what we found, the whole concept of the Miracle Morning is that not every successful person does all of these different things every day, but just about every successful person does some of these things every day, has some of these daily rituals, oftentimes morning rituals, and so we dive into that in this audio series. Now, if you're not familiar with the book, you can check out the book, of course, at Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. You'll find it right there. And then, of course, you can also go to our website. You may be listening to this recording right there on our website, but if you're not, if you're finding it somewhere else, go to tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, FOR, networkmarketers.com. Again, my name is Pat Petrini. I hope you're going to enjoy this interview. I know you're going to enjoy this interview. You might want to have a pen and paper handy, and on with the show. Thanks a lot. All right, welcome everybody. This is Pat Petrini, and here we are with another episode of the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers, a part of our interview series that we're doing as bonus content for the book, for all the readers of the book, but also plenty of people that maybe haven't even been exposed to the book yet, and hopefully trying to provide just great content for network marketers out there, and showing people what a powerful impact not only in your personal life, but in your business, that some daily rituals and morning routines can have. That's kind of the whole concept of the Miracle Morning, and how the Miracle Morning has kind of turned into this movement, is the idea that if you just are willing to wake up a little earlier and do a few simple exercises, simple things in your day, what a dramatic impact that can have in the long run for you personally and for your business. So I am very excited to have my good friend on the line, Mr. Rob Robson. Rob, are you there?
I'm here. Hey, Pat, how are you?
I am doing great, man. Thanks for being on the call. Appreciate it, and I can't wait for everybody to hear from you tonight, this morning, whatever it might be, I guess, for whoever's listening.
So I am honored to be on the show, brother.
So, I guess for us, it's night. Rob's walking around his neighborhood on the phone at midnight right now. I'm cramming in last-minute stuff for this book launch at midnight and getting the website up and everything. So I love people that are working hard at all hours. So,
well, this is when my Miracle Morning begins.
I know.
I just got done doing a big hotel event and went out to dinner at the Denny's afterwards with the leaders out there, and kind of a distinction and for those that are performing. And then I get back to my house at midnight and get to talk to you. So fired up.
I love it, man. Well, for everybody that is tuning in, of course, everybody that is pretty much anywhere that somebody is seeing this or hearing this recording, there's going to be kind of your background and your bio right next to it, so that people can kind of see some of that for that. But why don't we start off with maybe giving? We're obviously going to jump into daily routines, morning routines, all of that good stuff. So let's start off by you've kind of had what I would call like kind of an epic journey through the network marketing world, and you've been around the network marketing world for a while. Your parents were in the network marketing space. Give everybody kind of a little bit of your background and personal background too, but kind of your journey through network marketing and kind of where you are today.
Yeah, sure. So when I was 15 years old, a guy pulled up to my parents' house. We were in a double-wide mobile home, and he pulled up in a 600 SL Mercedes hardtop convertible, and he came in the house. He's got a gold Rolex with diamonds all over, and I'm thinking, man, this guy is awesome. And he talked to my parents and drew some circles, and before he left, my parents, because they're business owners and they're business thinkers, they bought a kit. It was like probably $200 for that opportunity, and they said, well, if we're going to get some people started, don't we need some extra kits? He goes, yeah, you do. So they bought like 4 or 5 extra kits and bought a bunch of promotional tools and a whiteboard, and they spent close to $2,000 right then after seeing the presentation for 45 minutes and began their journey. And man, that weekend, the guy left my parents 2 6-packs of cassette tapes, and we had one of those old karaoke singing machines in our living room, and the whole family sat around listening to these 12 audios that weekend, and we were all hooked, man. Like, are you kidding me? This whole life is available? Like, you just have meetings and talk to people about their dreams and goals, and you get to be rich? Like, I am in. So from then on, I was ruined from having a normal job. And, and then so, I was able to go full-time in the industry when I was 21, and we've been blessed to have a lot of financial freedom at times over the last 15 years, and we've also been blessed during the 15 years to be times where we couldn't make our mortgage payment, and we're, absolutely humbled, which I recommend to everybody. And now we're in a position where, it's a level of freedom that is hard to imagine, until you get there. So It's been a blessed life.
And, I actually, there's a lot of things that I want to dive into with you, but I know one of the things that you are really heavy on is personal development, and it's a huge aspect of your life. And, so I wanted to ask you a little bit of, just kind of touching on where you were, how personal development has really impacted you, anything that you want to share on those lines, because I know that you for a long time have had a very serious habit of personal development, and maybe more than anybody else that I know, is such a huge aspect of your life every single day, the amount of time that you commit to it, and obviously the impact that it has had on you. So would love to hear your thoughts on that.
And what a blessing for those of you that are on this, listening to this show. Network marketing has done more for helping people reprogram their mind and understand their capabilities than anything else out there. And it all stems around from a self-directed education and personal development and entrepreneurship education. And it's been life-changing for me. I mean, there was always literally thousands of cassette tapes around my house growing up, and we loved listening to audios, and I didn't read much in high school at all, actually, but there was a lot of books around my house, and I would get the Reader's Digest version from my parents because they were reading them all the time, and so it was a big part of my life. But when I was a junior in high school, I was in a car, a Suburban, with 3 of my friends, and we left for lunch during high school, and while we were gone at lunch, we got in a rollover accident. My friend Brad was driving, and we were going over 100 miles an hour and flipped in the air for about 100 yards, and Brad passed away, and the other 3 of us were hospitalized, and I went through surgeries and was really struggling. I started struggling with painkiller habits after that, which turned into, a lot of hard living choices for about 5 years. And when I was 21, I was as low as you can get. I grew up in a family where faith and going to church and things like that were a huge part of my life. And that faith didn't leave. I just went as far away from everything I knew to be true as I could. And when I moved back home at 21, we are who we hang with, right? We hear about you take your 5 best friends and average out their income, and that's going to be your income. Well, that's true in all aspects of their life. And I'll tell you, 5 of my close friends, when I was 21, moved back home and to try to change my life. And a year later, those 5 of those friends, 3 of them were in prison and 2 were dead. And so I was coming from a space of real, just downtrodden and very depressed, and felt really unworthy of success, even just of a normal life. I felt like, I'd screwed up so bad that I don't deserve a good life anymore, and I'm just going to get what I deserve. And kind of living that settle for life, I got a job at a car dealership, and I was depressed, really depressed. And it was I remember getting a check that said, "This is not a check," because you didn't sell any cars. Like, well, why'd you give me a check then? Well, HR says everybody gets a check. It was just a reminder that I sucked. But anyway, so this same guy that came to my house, 5-6 years earlier, he's at this time got a Ferrari and a Rolls Royce and a Maserati and this huge lifestyle and a huge organization, obviously. But because he was my parents' sponsor, and they had some nominal success, not huge success, but they were really close to this guy, he agreed to sit down with me. And he, which was pretty amazing. You have thousands of people in your group. I'm a 21-year-old punk kid living at home with mom and dad in a bunk bed, got nothing going for me. And he said, "Rob, what do you want?" And, I'd heard enough audios. I knew what he was talking about. He was trying to spin the dream for me. But I said, "I want everything you got. I want all your stuff. When can you part with it?" Right? I want that. And he said, "Well, is that real? I mean, are you serious about that?" I said, "Man, I am absolutely serious about it. I'll do whatever it takes." He said, "Rob, you are who you are, what you are, and where you are by what you've chosen to put into your mind." So you can change everything. You can change your attitude. You can change your beliefs. You can change everything, but you have to change your daily habit of your programming. He says programming always trumps willpower. You can have the desire to do something, but if you're for instance, you lose weight, you can lose it, but if your belief is that you're a fat person, then you're always going to gain it back. You're always going to go back to that set point of your beliefs of who you think you are. So we have to brainwash you, Rob, into having new beliefs. He said, "Listen, I will mentor you, and I'll help you achieve all your goals and dreams, but it's going to be expensive." I said, "I have no money." And he said, "No, I don't need money. You couldn't afford me." He said, "Here's what it's going to cost. For the next 6 months, you have to guarantee that you're going to go on a complete media fast, complete media blackout, where you can't watch TV show, a movie, you can't turn on the radio, can't read a newspaper, can't read a magazine for 6 months." And instead, he said, like, this guy had memorized Think and Grow Rich chapter and verse. Like, that was his book. He said, "I want you to read this book over and over again, and I want you to listen to these audios." Back then they were cassette tapes, which some of you guys listen to this. These were plastic things. They got holes in the middle. They're awesome. You should take a look at a museum or something. But he said, "You got to listen to these all day." He said, "You can't think for yourself right now, Rob, because you'll just say bad things to yourself. So you have to have new thinking, replace your thinking for a while until we can straighten things out, reprogram your mind." So I started listening to 6 to 10 hours a day of audios. While I was driving was my favorite place, but then I had a little yellow Sony Walkman, and I had, I was going through batteries every 2 days because I had headphones in. And while I was selling cars, well, I wasn't selling a lot of cars, but while I was at the car dealership, I had an earphone in. And, man, I was changing out cassettes every 45 minutes. And I got to the point that I couldn't stand the 30 seconds from the time it took for me to take that cassette tape and put in another one. So I would have one ready before the next one was done, because I just got so used to the positive thinking, and I was so afraid of my own thoughts. So I just jammed it in, man. And you know, Pat, I have been in the transformation industry for 15 years. I've seen people go to counseling for years and never change.
Right.
You know, never fix the main thing, whatever that main Goliath is that they're circling around and not willing to slay. And in 30 days, what this man did for me transformed my life forever. You couldn't even recognize me. Like I was someone who went from being a, Eeyore moping around depressed to someone so fired up about my life that, I was like the guy people would say, man, how you doing? I'm like, man, if I was any better, I'd be twins. Woo! And they're like, I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you're weird. But I was at a whole different level of belief. It was the first time in years that I had hope. And that's what we offer people is hope. So anyway, that started a habit. 6 months later, I was in the top 25 recruiters of that company that had over 1 million distributors in it. And I was 21. I quit my job. That was a big day. I mean, I wasn't rich. I was making about $3,000 a month after 6 months, but I could afford my bunk bed payment by then. And so I walked into my boss, Bob, and said, you know what, Bob, I appreciate you, but I'm going to have to let you go. Got to fire my boss, which was a good day. And then I started building my business full-time and quickly got up to a 6-figure income. And I had a chance to start speaking around the United States and Canada with my mentor and then on my own as well, just sharing my story, talking about how you can change everything about your life by changing your programming. And so for the last 15 years, I've had a steady diet of 3 to 4 hours a day of reading and listening. Normally that's about 3 audios a day at about 45 minutes to an hour. But when I'm driving a lot, I'll sometimes do 6 or 8 audios in a day. And when I'm flying, and then I read, normally about 30 minutes a day in a success book, and then I'll read scriptures as well. But when I'm flying, which is quite a bit, and then I'll read a lot. And so I have mentors that do much more than me, but the difference is between me and a lot of people, I guess, is just it's every single day. And it's been that way for 15 years, and it's accumulation. Sorry, there's a train going by, and I'm walking around my neighborhood. My neighbors think I'm so weird because it's midnight, and I'm doing conference calls, walking around my neighborhood doing laps.
I hear you, and there's no background noise either. We can hear you just fine. It's not even coming through.
Oh, okay.
So
wow, there's this. All right, great. Well, anyway, so that's been when you asked me to be a part of this program. I love the concept of Miracle Mornings because it's all about our rituals. It's all in your daily routine. You can see where someone is and why and where they're going to be by their daily routine. And I didn't change. There's a lot of people. My personality is not mega organized. And there's a lot of people that do things a lot better than me in other areas. But the thing that I'm consistent at is I'm a student. I love to listen. I love to read. And then I get to speak a lot. And so it allows me to take it from listening and reading to teaching. And then after I teach it a bunch of times, I try to do it. Because it puts pressure on you when you are representing ideas. You got to live by them. And so this network marketing is the best leadership education because it's not just theory. We get to see how we're doing by who's following us. By, how's it showing up? If you have a lot of conflict in your relationships, well, you probably need to work on conflict resolution. If you've got, a lot of people, burnt relationships everywhere you go, man, there's something there we got to focus on. We got, so yeah, it's all in those daily routines. And that is, if I go a day, like sometimes when I'm traveling quite a bit and people, kind of manage my calendar a little bit when I'm on trips. And
sure.
So, anybody knows me, I like working hard. I don't sleep a lot. I think my mornings are really long because they're for 3 or 4 hours at night and a couple hours in the morning. And, I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. And so I'm not much of a sleeper. And so when I'm somewhere else and they've got me booked solid and I miss my listening, I can tell. I can tell that I've given too much and I haven't been refueled. And so, it's just, that's what's available for all of us that are involved in this industry is, it's learning how to put this into your calendar on a daily basis. I mean, little things like when you take a shower, it's just wasted time. You can have an audio playing while you're in the shower and get your thought right for the day. When you're in your commute in the morning, just the commute can change your life. I was talking to a guy today who said his job, takes him all over the place and he drives tons of hours. And I said, man, you're going to do great at this. He's like, why? I said, because you're going to be able to get your thinking right. You got all that time in the car. So, yeah, that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And, I mean, I just agree with you 100% is that it just makes it makes such a dramatic impact. I mean, sometimes I've found myself, there are certain times where if I look back over the last, 10 years or whatever, there's been certain times where I've kind of been like, what's going on? Like, I feel like I just have been like a little bit less motivated or whatever. And almost every single time, it just has to dawn on me like, wait a minute, I'm not like reading anything, I'm not listening to anything. Like, what the heck am I doing? And as soon as you turn it back on and you implement it, if you're doing that stuff every day, you can't not be in the right mindset. But it's easy to let it slip and for your mindset to kind of drop without you knowing. But man, it makes such a quick impact, like you said, if you just are consistently applying that stuff. So
yes, sir.
So one of the things I want to kind of jump back a little bit to, like when we started off, I talked about how, you've kind of really been on sort of an epic journey through network marketing, and you've had some ups and downs. I wanted to see if I could pry a little further, a little bit more information out of you, because, you came in, like you told us, how you got to fire your boss, got to 6 figures, and but then there were also, kind of some down points after that, and the reason I ask you about that, and then of course you are where you are today, where just before this recording you were telling me about your new home that you guys are about to be moving into with your tennis courts and your movie theater and your full-size guest house and everything. So you've been through the ups and the downs and the big time ups. But the reason I ask you this is because I think that I personally like to fight a little bit of the whole. The network marketing message is like, look, man, you just get in and you do this for like 6 months to a year. And once you build this thing, it is like in stone. You're going to make this income forever. And, and it's, there's ebbs and flows in everything that we all are going to do in life, and it takes work to earn a dollar. And, the important thing that we're building as we're going through this journey is our skill sets, and our skill sets are what are going to really ultimately continue to pay us. So anyway, I just think I think people might be interested in hearing a little bit about kind of whatever was maybe what caused some of those downs. Obviously, sometimes there's shifts in companies. Companies rise and fall in the network marketing world just like they do everywhere else, and kind of what caused you to stick with it. If you were making 6 figures and then it kind of slipped a little bit or something, why are you still in network marketing? Why'd you stick with it? Anything you want to share about, that kind of whole aspect, the ups and the downs and the journey through it?
I love sharing, and I appreciate what you said as far as the pie in the sky, build it once, never think about it again. You'll be a multi-gazillionaire and sit on the beach and collect your checks, man. It's awesome.
Right.
And
yeah.
And it's one of the biggest problems with our industry has that happened before? Yeah, but it's kind of
Right.
like winning the lottery.
And it's not even what life should be about, right? I mean, like, who wants to sit on the beach and sip margaritas for 20 years while you're collecting checks? Like, you're just gonna. I mean,
you'd be miserable.
Shouldn't even be the objective, right?
No.
So
anybody who that's their objective and that stays their objective, and then they actually get there, they got there by luck. And if it ever goes away, you won't know how to get it back because you just got on the right business in the right time. And if that's the case, it's not the right time forever. And like you said, if your skills aren't there, then you're toast. I've seen so many people get to high 6 and even 7-figure incomes because they were, jumped on the right business at the right time, and they're on the front end of a rocket ship. But the rocket doesn't always keep going up, and all of a sudden they don't even know how they got there, And I just met with someone yesterday and brought him into our team, and he had 250,000 people in a company, and was making millions a year, and then lost it, and has not had success since. And I'm like, man, you missed it because, there is opportunity to kind of get lucky in the right time and yada yada, but man, that's not what life's about. It's about becoming, and and those ideas are fleeting. So the residual aspect of network marketing is 2 things. It's your skills and your relationships. I learned from a mentor a long time ago. He said, look, don't build companies, build communities, because I don't have any control of the company. But see, I don't build companies like stocks and sell this position and move over there. Man, my team is my family. Like, my kids are best friends with their kids. We travel together. We spend holidays together. It is we build in a family type culture, and my security is based on my skills and my relationships. And when you pour your life into people and you help them develop skills and you lead them with character and integrity and transparency, and man, it doesn't matter if something happens to the company, they're with you. Right. And that's where the security and the residual aspect of this industry is. It really is residual. It really can last forever because relationships can last forever. And if you've been a light in someone's life and you've led them to truth, and Kenyon and I, my wife and I, do a lot of personal mentoring and marriage coaching and all this type of, extracurricular, added value to our leaders, because that's what normally holds people back is some personal financial issue, character issue, marriage issue, from moving to the next level. And so we pour into people so that's what creates the residual aspect, is that closeness. So a little bit about our story, I guess a big thing that people need to focus on is mentorship. I was blessed to have an amazing mentor in my early, growth years, but things change and people have struggles, and we are all humans, and humans can make mistakes. And I wasn't watching close, and there was, some different people in my support team that made some really bad choices, and that, when you lose integrity because I lifted them up, it loses your credibility.
Sure.
So that was a huge challenge, and that was kind of early on. We had to rebuild a huge part of our organization because of that, and so then I got it built back up. And things were going great, and we were making more money than we'd ever made. And then all of a sudden, we just found out some things that we were really uncomfortable with about our company. And we were at the top of our game at the time, and things were growing. But I'm sure that their intentions and their beliefs, it was in line, and they probably saw it differently than we did. But what we saw, we felt like we couldn't support it anymore, couldn't represent it. And, and that's the big thing, is that we all have to create these partnerships with individuals that own companies, and it has to be in line with our values, or else you're, if it's not something you believe, then you're just a crooked salesperson. You got to find, you can't stand up on stage and promote things that you don't value. So anyway, at that point, my wife and I made a decision to walk away. And, we had a meeting with our team and said, hey, here's what we've decided, and you guys all have your own choice, but we're going to resign, and we're not sure what we're going to do, but whoever wants to do it with us, then we'll do it. And so, man, we had huge resignations at that time. Thousands of people resigned without us telling anybody to do it. But we created a great culture. And so anyway, during that time, went through some legal battles, non-compete issues, and things like that were incredibly expensive and harmful for both sides. And had I to do it over again, I'm sure there's things that we would have done differently. But we definitely try to do it with integrity and honesty. But it's there's kind of a sticky situation in the industry of what is property, and if people are property, and et cetera. So anyway, we chose to sit out for a little while, and it's funny. I got in one company because of just situationally it made sense for our team to kind of land somewhere. But again, it was something that I didn't highly value, and I did terrible at it. I mean, and I just thought, man, have I lost my mojo? Like, I'm working hard. I never stopped working, but I worked hard to go backwards at 5% a month, and just thinking, I just totally suck. And so that was literally, so we had 7 awesome years, and then we had 4 really, really bad years. And not bad. They were great for my life, but bad in income. And really, we ended up at the end of 4 years going from thousands to about 40. And those 40 were downtrodden and with, had gotten the dog snot beat out of them, but they just followed us anyway. And so when we finally found the home where we're at now 4 years ago, we started over. And why did I join where I'm at? And this is what everyone needs to look at, is I didn't join a company. I joined people that I could believe in, And that's when it comes down to it, you're joining a support team and some owners, and you're joining people. And you've got to find, when we launched the company we're in now, we had good products, but they weren't the best. And we had a good compensation plan, but it wasn't the best. But I felt like, for me, I had the best leadership that I believed in. And we were able, to get those other things right because we had the leadership right. So, 4 years. I got so broke one month, Pat. I mean, this is humiliating. I'm very prideful. I wouldn't get a job. My wife, Kenyon, would say, Rob, so mortgages come and due again, and maybe you should get a job. And I said, babe, you married me for better, for worse, and none of that included a job. So that is not happening. But what's crazy, Pat, is during that time, I decided to even though I kept involved in the industry, I just wasn't making any money really. And so I got involved in real estate investing. And I got involved with some people that had actually been in my team in the past, and so they trusted me and asked me to come in to do the marketing and acquisition for a real estate fix and flip company, and we killed it. And it was amazing, Pat, because just a few years ago, I had a different set of circumstances where I was actually making more money than I had ever made in network marketing. And it could have easily gone to the point of, I'll just do this. But my wife said, Rob, you just seem miserable. And I said, I am miserable because I'm not doing anything God called me to do. I'm not moving people. I'm not changing lives. I'm just making money, which I'm grateful for the money. For heaven's sakes, I tried being broke once and it did not fit well. So, I was about to say there was one month I was so broke I had to ask my church for food. I mean, that's pretty broke. And
Right.
that's what prompted me to actually start another business. So we were doing great, and I just said, no, I'm meant to be able to lead people to the same type of transformation that I went through. And so, that's when I really put my heart into networking again. I never was out. I never stopped working. I just didn't have my heart there the same way. And starting over was slow. I'm sure there's a lot of people who can build faster than me. They, might use different techniques that bring people in faster. We're kind of an old school, knee-to-knee, relationship building focus. And so it took me a couple years just to get back to a six-figure income. And I stopped doing real estate investing, even though I was making a lot more money in real estate than I was in network marketing at that time. But I was making enough, and so I went back full-time. And that year, we grew our income 312%. So then it got real good. And then this year, we'll have grown our income close to another 300%.
So awesome.
It's gotten really,
I love it.
really good.
I love it, man. And those are 300% of significant numbers that you're growing from last year to this year. So that's awesome.
It all came down to finding what you feel called to do.
Right.
Where I wake up every day so excited about my life, so excited to go talk to people, meet new people, present, follow through, coach and mentor. It's like there's no work involved for me. All day it's what I love.
Right.
And it allows us the freedom that we want, but I also like my kids to see me work hard. I like them to know that the freedom to me means freedom to work harder than the next guy, and show my kids this is what it looks like to win. And I'm not the dad that sits on the sidelines eating nachos and drinking beer, watching them play ball and yelling at them that they need to do better. I want to be that example of, hey, here's childhood's fun, but adulthood's where it's at. Like you want to. It's not the celebrating my high school years the rest of my life. Every year should get better. I digress.
I love it.
Go ahead, brother.
No, man. Absolutely. I agree. I think living a life of. There's a great friend of mine. I think it's his quote. He always said that his number one goal. He's a network marketing professional as well. His number one goal is to be living a life of significance in front of his children, and I've always, that quote is always a quote that stuck with me, and certainly is something that you and Kenyon are doing, living by example for them. So
you should just take that quote. The rule in network marketing is, and speaking in general, is you quote somebody the first time, the next time you say, I heard one time. And then the third time you say, like I always say.
Like I always say. That's funny. I love that. It's like the transitive rule of quotes. That's been fantastic.
It was either Abraham Lincoln or it was me. I'm not sure, but
right. I love it. Well, jumping topics a little bit. I of course want to dive into. I want to dig into kind of morning routines. Like you said, your morning routine kind of starts, when you're ending your day, or if there's something that you're kind of doing in the evening to prep for the morning. But let's just dive into it. Like, let's dive into kind of what the first part of your day looks like, the things that are really important to you that you think have a big impact on the rest of your day, like specifically what you're doing and why you're doing those different things.
Awesome. Yeah. So my daily routine is, listening throughout the day, and that's a critical piece. And then evenings is when I read and study. I'm a night owl, and so I found out one of the reasons why I did poorly in school is I had really bad allergies. I was allergic to mornings, and so I tried to eradicate those. No, but it's funny because I love both sides. I love ending my day the right way, so that I'm thinking, when you're tired like that and late at night and in the morning, we know that we can more speak to our subconscious mind and really focus on changing new beliefs. And, so many people go to bed with the news on. And I'm thinking, man, you could not think of anything more detrimental to your mental and physical health than going to bed with constantly negative news playing in the background. It's just awful what people do to themselves. And so, most nights I fall asleep reading a book. Most nights, so a lot of my books have slobber in them and the pages are stuck together. But I've literally barely graduated high school, just because I was so ADD and wouldn't sit down, didn't read books, and now I have a library of books that have changed my life. I get to speak at high schools and colleges and universities on entrepreneurship and economics and stuff that I'm really passionate about. I get to speak around the country on ideas on political liberty and things that I'm very passionate about, and it all came from that self-directed education journey, which is primarily literally a half hour a day before I go to bed. That's really how I've been able to get, I would say, a double doctorate education in the last 15 years in a lot of different subjects that I love to share and that I've actually been able to apply, not just some intellectual gobbledygook in academia, but I've actually been able to apply it in my life and the life of others. So late night, and then one of the things that because I am pretty naturally ADD, I don't take medicine, never have, but had I grown up 10 years later, I'd have been all drugged up.
Right.
So I'm very ritualistic on my calendar. I have to really plan things. I have to plan my family time, and that's something that it's a weekly thing. On Sunday nights, my wife and I do what we call PDCA, plan, do, check, adjust. And so we look at our plan and make sure that number one, our schedules match, and we go out a couple months with my travel schedule, and our travel schedule. She travels with me quite a bit, and we have 5 kids. We have to really, be on track with our calendars. So if I miss even 1 week, things can be trouble pretty quickly. So we do a lot of calendaring stuff, and then we talk about specific things that are working and aren't working in our business, in our personal relationship, in our relationship with our kids. What's working, what's not working. Check what's working, what's not working, and then make some adjustments, create a new plan, and then go to work. So that's something we do weekly, and then I do that daily. I look at my teams. So in the morning, primarily what I do is when I'm doing things correctly, I do like to exercise in the morning, to be honest. Sometimes I'll get in focus time periods where, we're pushing for a new level or something like that, and I'll sacrifice my workouts a little bit. But as soon as I sit down at my desk in the morning, one of the worst things that I used to do is check my email right away.
Right.
And when you do that, man, you just you let the tail wag the dog. You just, this is, all these diverting energies, rather than I keep my email off, and I like to actually draw out my teams, physically draw them out, and, just focusing on certain levels and above, and drawing out where I'm working. And I ask myself a couple of questions. Where am I digging? Meaning, where am I personally building depth? And so, what areas of my team am I working? And who am I developing? So what leaders am I focused on giving a quick text to, or a phone call, or setting up a lunch meeting just to make some deposits and develop? So those are the main 2 questions I ask in each of my legs. Where am I working? I say, where am I digging? And who am I developing? And that allows me to have some real clear priorities that refocus me for the day. And then after I have that clear, I look at what are some quick things I can do right then to make progress on some of those And then I'll check my emails, etc., because I've prioritized my time. So I look at that at night. I look at my calendar of, remind myself what's going on that next day, and then in the morning prioritize my thinking on what's important. So that's just one little habit. And I'm not even 100% on that. I'll get in habits of doing it perfectly for a while, and then I won't do it very good for a few days. And so I want to give people hope that, you don't have to be perfect at these things. If you can just get a few of these things down 50% of the time, 60% of the time, you'll be in the top, quarter of 1% income earners and relationships and everything as the whole population, because most of them spend 4 hours a day watching TV every day.
Right. Yeah, well, a couple things that I love that, one of the things that I hope people will see as they listen to these different interviews that we have with all, top performers in the network marketing world is some of the patterns and similarities. And it's so funny because just earlier today I was interviewing Ray Higdon for his piece, his contribution to this whole project, and two things that he was saying exactly the same. As he's like, most people to go to bed watching the news, exactly what you're saying. They're filling their mind with like murder and rape and like disasters and all kinds of stuff just before they close their eyes and let their subconscious go to work. And then also what so many people have said as we've been doing these interviews is the importance of not checking your email and social media as soon as you roll over. Because it takes one little email, one little post or whatever to suddenly send you into emergency mode, and then your whole, all your priorities go out the window. You don't exercise, you don't read, you don't, everything. All of a sudden you just focus on that email, and you throw all the truly important stuff out and trade it for that urgent thing that is probably just somebody else's crisis and not really yours that you just happen to check in the morning. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at we shouldn't have a lot of emergencies in our life. If it's not a true emergency, but those of us that are doers and we make things happen, we see, like you said, somebody else's emergency or what they perceive as an emergency, which could be anything, and we make it ours. And man, I have to ignore those things and focus on, in order for me to even have influence on these people, I have to win. In order for I've got to be an example. And so, the best way to help people is to be an example. But and then we haven't had a television as far as network or cable TV for 15 years.
Yeah, I love it.
We don't do it. So I have Netflix and and DVDs and things that one of the things that attracted me to this new house is it's got a bomb theater with 8 huge electric chairs that a huge awesome popcorn machine, and it's amazing. And I love to sit down and watch a good movie, but that's it, a movie. And
for sure.
And right now, when I'm in the middle of a goal, because I love movies, I will use takeaway goals. Like, okay, I'm not going to watch a movie until I hit this level. Right. And so I haven't watched a movie in like 3 months, but we're in 3 days going to hit a goal that we've been running for, and fired up. I'll get to watch movies on my new theater that we get to buy. So it's delayed gratification. And understanding these habits compound on themselves, and long-term vision of what you want most, rather than sacrificing what I want most for what I want right now. It's you can see it, these little things every day. And I look back and I go, man, those were some little habits that I'm not even 100% on, and look what it does for me.
Yep. Well, I've always enjoyed the saying everything in moderation, including moderation, right? And so we go in waves, and like you said, it's not that you're always going to be in this perfect balance every single day of hitting every single aspect of your routine that you want to. And sometimes you go into sort of momentum mode, and balance just goes out the window. And right now we're launching this book, and I'm doing 14-hour days, online promotions, all this kind of stuff, and pretty much the rest of my life has gone out the window for this week. And it'll be back into focus maybe in about another week and a half once we get on the other side of this launch. So those things definitely happen. But you go in waves, and it's just trying to make sure that you don't go too far out of balance or too long when the exercising isn't happening or too long where the reading doesn't happen, or some of those things, and making sure that you're being careful of those things because the differences add up.
Oh, man, they do. And you know what I find, though, what's such a blessing is that when you get in these habits and then you go in beast mode for a little while and, you're just killing it, working 15, 16 hours a day and, doing everything that it takes, you long for it. You long to listen to more audios. You long to get back in the gym. It's not like, oh, man, I don't know if I can get my butt in there again. It's like, man, I can't wait to go lift weights again. And because when you do it long enough, that you can divert off a little bit, go into massive beast mode, and still it's not like I've got to get myself back there. It's like, man, I can't wait to do that again. Right.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, just one last question that I wanted to run past you, and that is really just just any parting words. If there's anything that we haven't touched on that you wanted to touch on, a question that I should have asked you and didn't, or obviously, like most of our audience and most of the network marketing world is people that have been here for are relatively new, been around for a few months, and are still working hard to kind of hit those levels of success that they want to hit. Any kind of parting words that you would have for those people or anything like that?
Well, first of all, you're doing the right thing. There could not be a more rewarding profession than what we get to do. And as long as you're not doing it for the quick buck and man, I'm going to make a bunch of money and get out, and you're there to really build value and build relationships and build a true community, man, there's nothing more rewarding than what we do. So you're doing the right thing. And the key to success is really finding out what your dreams are, detecting your purpose, writing out your dream, all of that you hear so much about. But focusing on what do I want? And sometimes it's not even clear in the beginning. Sometimes it's just some stuff I don't want. And I know I want better. And great, that's enough to get started. And then, man, you got to be so careful who you listen to. You got to do a fruit check. Every time somebody wants to give you some advice on something, you got to do a fruit check. Like, man, if that guy just celebrated his 5th divorce, don't listen to him about a marriage, right? Don't read what he's reading. If he's just went through another bankruptcy, don't listen to his investment advice. And so, make sure you find mentors. You can get them through books and audios, podcasts like this. But seek out mentorship, seek out perspective, and hopefully somebody in your upline. That, to me, some people work well as being kind of the top of the heap, the master distributor. I love having a mentor. I love it. I love edifying somebody else. I love having someone give me perspective. And I feel sad for people that don't have that try to be the top of the heap, man. You can out-earn your mentors, by the way. But you need people that have wisdom and that have perspective and have your best interests at heart, that are willing to be honest with you and are willing to say things that maybe you don't want to hear all the time. Man, when I sit down with my mentor, I get the opportunity to be personally mentored by Orrin Woodward, and his wife Lori really mentors my wife Kenyon, and these guys are 7-figure monthly earners, and they have had just massive success. And when I listen to them, it's so valuable. I ask them before I make financial decisions. I ask them before I buy a new car. Things that you'd think, what are they, your dad? I'm like, no, are you crazy? They're just so much further ahead than me that it's so valuable for me to check my thinking constantly. And just, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Am I on track? So find mentors that you can pursue and passionately pursue a mentor. I always say, if you really want to make something happen, wherever your mentor lives, go move next to him, and just follow him around, because that's what changed my life. And people don't, if I have a mentor who's up, man, I'm never going to bed before he is. I'm following him. And I created a culture that way that now people do that to us. And you create a culture of edification and mentorship, and then be a good example. You got to walk your talk, and don't lie, don't deceive, don't tell people you're making more than what you're making. Try to stay away from the check flashing. I mean, first of all, it's legal issues around it, but more than that, people don't care what you're driving; they care what's driving you. And so, it's not about what your check was. I was a good person to follow when I was broke because I knew where I was going, and so you just look for that. And if somebody can find a mentor, will be willing to make some sacrifices, like give some things up, quit the softball league, give up the PTA, give up even on some stuff that's really good. Give that up for a while to focus on purpose, on what you really want to accomplish. And think of it like medical school. Man, if you're going to medical school, what would you have to give up? Well, probably everything for a short term.
Right. Yep.
And maybe other people can do it different, but that's what I do. That's what I recommend, and that's what's worked for me and everybody I know is short term, I'm giving up everything. I mean, if you're in medical school, would your parents and family forgive you when you missed the family reunion? Yeah, they would. Oh, he's in medical school.
Right.
We get it. It's fine. It's short term. He's going to be a doctor and make us all proud. And the challenge is you're not going to get that approbation from our industry. People aren't going to understand what they would totally be okay with if you were in law school or medical school. They'll think you're a money hungry, out of your head crazy person to do it for your network marketing business. But it doesn't matter. You get to you have superior knowledge, and so be willing to give some things up, like the opinion of ignorant people. That's why they pay us so much. Is you get to deal with the opinion of ignorant people, and people ask me, "Man, do you still have naysayers?" I'm like, "No, we haven't had any for a long time." I mean, my posture is such a way that people don't naysay at all, nor did they even when we got brokified for a little while, because I know what I got. They only do it to you because when you don't have the certainty to influence their lack of belief. And when you get that, the way that you get that certainty is by being the person that's worthy of following. It's not even results, it's just activity. Are you reading and listening and following a mentor? Put check in the box. Are you doing the amount of volume that is being promoted as personal volume, personal customer sales, et cetera, et cetera? Are you doing the amount of presentations that is recognized and talked about in your company? Are you doing the activities? Are you showing up early and leaving late for every event? As soon as you're doing the right things, your posture goes through the roof because you are someone worthy of being followed. You go, man, if you do what I'm doing, you will win. And that can happen today. That's success is not a destination. It's the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal or dream. And so it happens today when you get in line with your dream and you start doing the activities. Man, you are a massive success. And if you die tomorrow, you died a success. And as soon as somebody gets in that line, man, this whole journey, it's like a romantic battle. You're out there swinging your sword, going from broke to, getting free. It's awesome. It's what you'll talk about the rest of your career, of how you had to, go from broke to getting free, being able to be a full-time dad, full-time mom, being able to have a comma in your checkbook and not stress about, buying gas. Being able to go on amazing vacations. We like to, this last summer for 5 months in a row, we took a week-long vacation, then worked our guts out for 3 weeks, and then week-long vacation. We like to hold a 3-on, 1-off routine, works well for us. And we took our kids out of school for a year, and I had heard a network marketer say this, so I just liked it. But they asked me, "Are you going to homeschool your kids?" I said, "No, we're going to world school our kids." And we started traveling all over the place, and that's all available if you'll just follow some simple disciplines. So I sure appreciate you, Pat, and respect everything that you're doing, and just grateful that I could be a part of it.
Hey, man, I am so glad to have you as part of it, and likewise, really respect you and just so appreciative of you being a part of this. And I think we've covered some great stuff here. One thing just I want to ask you is if anybody, what's the best place for anybody to look you up? Social media, online website, whatever. Best place for somebody to find you online.
Yeah, so Facebook, but also my blog at robrobsonblog.com. And so that I'm just now starting that, by the way.
Cool.
So Facebook is where I'm most active. I tweet every now and then, but yeah, I'd love to connect with anybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in again. And of course, you can check out all the other content that we have for you at our website, tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, for networkmarketers.com. And if you're hearing this stuff and you haven't heard the book yet, you can, of course, check out the book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. Rob, you rock. I appreciate you, man. And thanks again for taking the time with everybody this evening here at midnight 30 or 1 o'clock, whatever we're at right now.
Yeah, it is 1:20. What a great night.
I love it.
Thanks so much, brother. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks, man.
Hey, this is Pat Petrini again, and just to wrap up really quickly, I just want to remind you that if you liked this interview, we've got a whole bunch more. If you go to our website, it's tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, FOR, networkmarketers.com. And, of course, if you haven't checked out the book yet, you can go to, first off, you get 2 free chapters of the book at tmm4networkmarketers.com. And then, of course, if you want to get the book, go to Amazon and just search for The Miracle Morning for networkmarketers.com, and you can get it paperback, Kindle, whatever. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you really enjoy the rest of the content that we've made available for you. Thanks a lot. Again, my name is Pat Petrini, and I'll see you on the next interview.